Hey, this is Steph. I have my MBA and 20 years of corporate human resources experience. I want to help you step away from hustle culture. Let's go. Today, I want to talk about valuing your time and specifically why going back into the office and the commute that comes with that may not be the best use of your time and why the company wants you to do it. As a leader in a tech company during the pandemic, I heard a lot from executives about why they wanted employees back in the office. And I want to talk a lot about that today because despite productivity going up, that was a sticking point for a lot of executives across the nation, how they wanted to bring people back to the office. And we want to talk today about why that might be. Executives were insisting people come back, and the reasons they were giving really came down to wanting to see butts in seats. And we were trying to get to the root of why. Why do we need to see people in order to know that they're working? They wanted to have eyes on them to be able to see that they're productive. The assumption was maybe they're, taking naps. Maybe they're moonlighting another job. Maybe they are not putting in the hours. And when managers come to me about those types of issues, and even in office, this can be an issue. It can be absenteeism. It can be, employees that are chronically late. The real question always that I ask is, but are they productive? Because that needs to be the focus every single time for employees is, are they really getting their job done? If you're treating employees like adults, then that should be the question. If a manager comes to me with concerns, says that their employee is productive, but is still having issues around time in seat, then I end up spending more time coaching that manager on their role and how they see their team, their leadership style, than I do about that employee. If you commute to the office and you're being asked to come back 5 days a week, you could be spending anywhere from 2.5 hours to 14 hours in your car getting to the office. And so what the pandemic showed a lot of people, myself included, was what else could I be doing with that time? And when you're being asked to come back into the office, it's not just lack of flexibility that you're giving up. It's also that commute time. And I want to break that down for you in terms of dollar amount so that you can see how important that is, whether you're in a role where you're asking someone to come back and you need to acknowledge that loss of time, or if you're an employee and you need to recognize it in what you're giving to the company. How you use that extra time, whether it is 2.5 hours or 14 hours a week, is up to you. It's really none of the company's business. Whether you are someone who likes to work out, spend more time with family, get dinner started, play with your dog, whatever it is you want to do. And actually, it is more common that employees who have the chance to work from home, they split that time between themselves and the company. And what that means is that the company gets some of those hours back that they would have spent commuting as well. I saw that happen with me specifically during the pandemic and the short time that the Human Resources Department was working from home because we were one of the first people back in the office. But during that time, I found that a lot of those extra hours were spent working. And I didn't look at that as a negative because those hours during the week then were hours I wasn't working on the weekend, because that was just facts in terms of the project load that I was going to be working more than 40 hours a week. And yes, a lot more of those hours, if I wasn't commuting, could be done during the week and it would free up my weekend time. And that was important to me. Let's take an example of someone who works 40 hours a week and makes $80,000 a year. So they're an exempt level employee, they're on an annualized salary. What that could be broken down so that we can get it to an hourly amount, if you ever want to know how much you make per hour, is to divide that annual salary by 2080. So for an $80,000 salary, that looks like $38.46 an hour. So we're going to take that and we're going to assume that someone is commuting for an hour and a half each day, 45 minutes each way. And we are going to do some math. If we assume that you are working 11 months a year, so you've got 1 month between paid holidays and vacation time that you are not in the office, you're coming into the office 48 weeks. So that's translating into 7.5 hours a week times 48 weeks, that is 360 hours a year that you are spending in your car. So $38.46 an hour times 360 hours a year is $13,845.60 worth of your time that you're spending in the car. If your manager asks you to come back into the office and they aren't recognizing that time that they're asking you to give back, and the monetary value of that time is important to you, maybe the opportunity cost is even more important to you. Either way, it is essential that we acknowledge it when we're asking people to come back into the office, to give up that flexibility, but also the value of the time that they're losing. Let's look at a couple charts. Where Americans work in 2024, 40% are in the office and 20% are at home. The US Census Bureau showed that the percent of income of work from home during the pandemic was highest for the highest earners. So those folks making over $200,000 a year were the most frequently working from home during the pandemic, and it decreased along with salary. And that does make sense in terms of the likelihood of work being able to be done at home. The US Career Institute shows the top benefits of working from home. No surprise, commute is at the top. As I was making this video, Adam Grant ran a fun cartoon that talks about this same subject in terms of the commute, and also points out that according to research, profits are not enhanced by people coming back into the office, but work-life balance is significantly impacted in terms of the way people feel about their lack of flexibility that they had working from home. So let me know how you feel. Are you working from home? Are you being asked to come back into the office? If so, for how many days? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.